Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video episode on ForgottenWeapons.com. Today we're looking at another early American bolt-action rifle. This is a Winchester-Hotchkiss. This is an 1883 model, which is one of the later guns produced, or versions produced. This is a bolt-action rifle, so fairly typical action there. It's designed by Benjamin Hotchkiss, the same Hotchkiss who did the Hotchkiss revolving cannon and the Hotchkiss machine guns. He wasn't American, although he found he had to go overseas to find much of a market for his various products, with the exception of this one. These rifles were designed for the 1878, or submitted for the 1878 U.S. Army trials of new repeating rifles. Ultimately, the outcome of those trials was they did not adopt any new repeating rifle. It turned out a lot of the military commanders involved in the trials simply weren't really comfortable with magazine-fed firearms, and that led them to just skip the idea for the time being. So the Hotchkiss is a particularly interesting one, I think. It is, of course, chambered in .45-70, which was the standard military cartridge at the time, and it has a tube magazine that would hold either 5 or 6 cartridges, depending on the model. You see the follower there, spring-loaded. And you load this from the action. You put a round in backwards and push it down until the rim snaps in place. And that tube magazine comes all the way back down here. So it does have a magazine cutoff, this lever. That was a standard feature on military rifles at the time. Commanders wanted a way to be able to hold the magazine in reserve and fire by single loading until such time as might deem use of the magazine necessary. So what struck me actually initially taking a look at this is how, compared to a lot of the other rifles of the time, the bolt is actually a pretty kind of petite little thing. It's fairly small in diameter and just feels a little bit, not necessarily delicate, but smaller than a lot of the other rifles that were around. Not a whole lot to see on the other side here. These were manufactured commercially up until 1899 in a number of different calibers. And Winchester was able to make at least a little bit of money on them. So, reportedly there was a fairly large order by the Chinese government for 15,000 of them, in addition to a couple thousand rifles ordered over the years by the U.S. Army and Navy for trials. And then, of course, the civilian guns. So, all right, so here on the bottom, we have one of the earlier versions of the Hotchkiss, and on the top, the later version. These items are both magazine cutoffs. What they discovered was that on the early version, having a one-piece stock like this in the cutout actually significantly weakened the stock, and they had problems with stock breakage. So they revised the design and went to a two-piece stock with a solid receiver in the middle. This way, there's not any particular excessive stress anymore on the buttstock back there. One of these days I'll be able to add one of these to my personal collection, and hopefully you guys will too if this is the sort of thing you find interesting. So thanks for watching. Tune in again to ForgottenWeapons.com for more early bolt-action rifles.